Hey, I'm Connor.
Hey, I'm Rutledge.
And we are Friends Stream Sports coming to you live with another great edition of our, not another great edition really, Rutledge, our first edition of our March Madness show. How pumped are you tonight?
I am so excited. This is big for us because, we come to our first basketball season and our first tournament. This is our first really big sort of Zoom show. We've done some other stuff, but we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So I'm hyped. I can't wait, Connor.
Woo, it'll be great. And I think that what's going to be really fun about this show, as opposed to maybe other shows, is that we have kind of a special way that we're going to be picking our brackets out tonight, Rutledge. Can you share with us a little bit and share with our viewer a little bit of what we're going to be doing here and how we're picking our show?
Absolutely. So most times you watch a sports show, it's two dudes talking about their bracket, going back and forth, giving intelligent basketball points, name dropping people on the team, making smart decisions, giving you something statistical so you can win your bracket challenge and, win your way to the top. That is not this show. So if you are listening to us for our podcast or you are going to be jumping on with us on Twitch, here's what you need to know. Connor and I are going to coin flip every single game. So we on our sheet have selected all the first round games, and we're going to be taking you through what we think the second round matchups are going to be. We're going to flip our way through. The basic way that we're going to do it together is going to be this. We're going to have two fingers as an example. The top one near the top of the page will be heads. The bottom one will be tails. So if you flip a coin and one of us gets heads, one of us gets tails, that's what we're writing on our sheet. We're going to do this all the way down until our championship game, and then we will pick whatever we have left over. So, Connor, are you ready to get into it?
I think so, Rutledge. Let it be known, this quarter that I'm using is not a stimulus quarter. It is an unstimulated quarter.
My quarter's from 1967.
I've got my quarter is no way. My quarter is also circa 1967.
Wow.
All right. Good year. Good year for quarters.
Good year. Gosh, that was almost a quarter of a century ago.
Whoa.
Hey-o. But serious talk. Here we go. So shout out to our viewers for the people that we had just jump in. We're picking our March Madness brackets. Heads or tails. Top team is heads. Second team is tails. We are going through everything, and we are going to be doing the second round. So we've already picked all the first round. Our first game is going to be Gonzaga versus Oklahoma, meaning they're going to be their opponents in the first and go to the second. So 1, 2, 3, flip. All right. I have heads. What do you have?
I got heads as well. Gonzaga moves on.
We both put down Gonzaga. All right, Connor.
All right, next up, we have the Creighton Blue Jays versus the UVA Cavaliers, also known as Wahoos. We're going to flip on 1, 2, 3, flip. 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, gosh.
Okay, what'd you get?
Heads.
I also got heads.
Creighton, a lot of chalk. Actually, Creighton, the 5 seed, moving on over 4 seed UVA.
A little bit of an upset. This next one's going to be intense. We have USC, the University of Southern California, versus the basketball power who hasn't been amazing this year, Kansas. Ready? 1, 2, 3, flip. I have tails. What do you have?
Man, these are loaded quarters. I'm tails as well. Tails never fails. Rock chalk.
We both have Kansas.
Both have Kansas. Next up, our first round upset. We picked VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, over Oregon. So 10 seed VCU versus 2 seed and Mr. Everything Garza, Iowa Hawkeyes. So heads VCU, tails Iowa Hawkeyes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, flip.
I have tails.
Oh, I have heads. VCU is moving on in my bracket.
Our first split.
This is big time.
How do you have faith in VCU taking down the number 2 seed Iowa?
I feel like anything can happen, and I feel like especially this year, anybody can get COVID. Like, what was it, like half of UVA's team isn't even traveling to Indiana this week until Friday. So, or not Indiana, pardon me, Virginia. So, yeah, I'm into it.
All right.
I believe. Go VCU.
At this point, the coin has spoken. All right,
Yeah.
now we're going to move down the bracket. Well, that was the West region. We're going to go into the East region. Our first game is pretty solid Big Ten favorite, Michigan, and trying to bring back the Fab Five, and then the runner-up to the SEC tournament, the LSU Tigers. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, flip.
What'd you get?
I got heads. What did you get?
You got heads. Tails never fails. LSU Tigers defeating the Wolverines.
That's an upset. That's a big one.
I'm still feeling good about it. I feel like Juwan Howard has he's got to have, because he was a part of the Fab Five Michigan team, that had that epic failure, way back when. He's got to have one as a coach too. So this will be his one as a coach.
Right.
But next up, Georgetown. We picked Georgetown as our 12-5 upset. No March Madness seems to be complete without a 12-5 upset versus Florida State. They did not win the ACC tournament, but still really solid. So Georgetown is heads, Florida State is tails. 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, gosh.
Oh, wow.
What'd you get?
Madness on my sheet. I have tails. I have Florida State over Georgetown.
Yep, I got tails as well. FSU. The 4 seed moves on. LSU, FSU. This is like the bracket of good college, or supposed to be good college football. You have LSU, Florida State, Texas, and Alabama's the 2 seeds. So they should like not have it be the East bracket, but be like the Nick Saban bracket.
Or the BCS bracket. The college football playoff bracket.
Yep.
Okay, this one here. So we have the first round. It was BYU versus the play-in of Michigan State versus UCLA. So before we go with that, Connor, are we going to take Michigan State or UCLA coming out of this game?
I am. This is going to be kind of a hometown kind of feel for it. Go green, baby. MSU all day to keep with the solid football program vibe.
So we're taking in this game, it's going to be Michigan State Spartans versus the very strong Big 12 Texas Longhorns. All right, count us down.
3, 2, 1, flip.
I almost lost my quarter. Okay. We got wild. I got tails.
What'd you go with? Man, I got tails too, dude.
We got Texas.
Longhorn. Texas fight.
Texas fight. Okay.
Next up, Maryland versus Alabama. I was watching the University of Kentucky play in the SEC tournament last week with some big-time Kentucky fans, and they're saying that Kentucky might very well go after the Coach Oates down in Alabama. He's really got it going on just 2 years in, Rutledge.
Okay, wow, that's huge.
So just a little bit of insight for you before we let the coin decide. And okay. 3, 2, 1, flip.
Okay. Mine is tails. I'm taking Alabama.
Maryland, as great as Alabama's playing, their road ends here. And Maryland Terrapins moving on.
The coin has spoken. To all of our podcast listeners out there, remember, we're coin flipping our way through the March Madness bracket. Shout out to all of our viewers watching us on Twitch. We appreciate all of you coming out. If there's any games that you want to pick ahead of the coin flip, throw it in the comments. We appreciate all the support. Okay, now we're going on to the right side of the bracket. This is the south side. We have, in the second round, we have Baylor, who's been strong all season, and in my personal bracket, my champion, versus the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Okay, Connor, here we go. Let's flip it. This one, I'm nervous about this one, but here we go. 3, 2, 1. Mine didn't flip. I'm flipping it again. Dirty. Okay, what'd you get?
I I got a little tails action. So UNC moving on.
I have heads, so Baylor is moving on my bracket.
Nice.
All right, who's next?
Nice. Next up, Villanova, who just lost their best player, versus Purdue. And might I say, I might have a little bit of rooting interest in there for anybody who's watching. So I just showed my Purdue shirt that I'm wearing for all of our podcast listeners.
All right, ready?
So 3, 2, 1, flip.
Okay, tails never fails. Your wife's going to be very happy because I'm saying boiler up on my sheet.
Boiler up. I've got Villanova. Villanova beating Purdue, moving on.
Okay. It's a pretty big
Jay
one.
Wright. Yeah, Jay Wright. If we were the hosts of First Things First with Nick Wright and Jenna Wolf and Chris Wilds and man, I'm forgetting their other host that they have who used to play receiver for the Broncos. We could say friend of the show, Jay Wright, head coach of Villanova, if we were the host of First Things First.
We could. We are not the host of First Things First. We are the host of the very first Friend Stream Sports. More popular than First Things First.
I mean, maybe. See, next up, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Previous national champion contender, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Texas Tech is heads, Arkansas is tails, and we're going to flip on 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I got tails. What? You got Texas Tech? Okay. So next we have Florida versus Ohio State. Connor, who do you want to see in this one?
Can both teams lose? That's kind of what I'm going for. I would like my quarter here for those who can see to just land just flat. So neither team wins. That's what I'm going for.
Sadly, that's not how this episode works. So one of them is going to lose. So let's flip this thing on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I got tails. To our solid friend of the show, Luke, you'll be happy to see that I have Ohio State on my sheet.
Unfortunately, heads. Florida Gators.
Florida Gators.
If the Gators go ahead and win my bracket, I'm going to be so mad. We might
it's a possibility.
Have to start the podcast over.
Might just have to get new friends to stream sports.
No doubt. So that rounds out the second round of the South bracket. Next up, we have the Midwest bracket. Number 1 seed Illinois versus number 9 seed Georgia Tech. Heads is Illinois, tails is Georgia Tech. ACC champion Georgia Tech.
They haven't been that good in a while.
No, probably since, Jarrett Jack? He played for Georgia Tech?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Doesn't feel like that long ago. Must be getting old. All right, let's flip this coin. 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh my gosh. I gotta flip it again.
Okay.
What am I doing? Illinois gets upset. Georgia Tech. This is madness, baby.
I also have Illinois.
No, I got tails, so I'm Georgia Tech.
Oh, well, I did get heads, so I am Illinois. Remember, heads is the top of the page.
No doubt.
Okay. We're good.
Next up, another OSU, this time Pac-12 champion Oregon State with another 12-5 upset. I was feeling good about Oregon State over Tennessee because Tennessee really struggled, and Oregon State's playing really hot right now. But Oregon State versus Oklahoma State. So the battle of the OSUs. You ready for this?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, flip.
I got tails. I got Oklahoma State.
Tails. Me too. Cade Cunningham. Moving on.
Cade Cunningham, huge NBA draft choice coming through. Possibly going to be a very big deal in the new world. Okay. In this one, we have number 6, San Diego State, who beat Syracuse, taking on number 3, West Virginia, as we're getting towards the bottom of the Midwest bracket. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Coin went everywhere.
I got heads. San Diego State.
I got tails.
Nice.
Country roads take me home to the next round where I belong.
If West Virginia makes a deep run, like in the real life tournament, and there's not that many fans there, that'd be a real shame. West Virginia can get down.
They can get down. That is one fan base that knows how to appreciate some sports.
Living life. Finally, to round out the second round, we have Clemson, the Clemson Tigers versus the Houston Cougars, one of the favorites to win this thing. Houston is tails. Clemson is heads. You ready for this?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, flip.
I got heads. I regrettably take the Clemson Tigers.
You and I both have some issues with our brackets here, in that you have Clemson winning, I have the Florida Gators winning, but I did pick tails, or not pick tails. I flipped tails.
You got tails.
Houston Cougars moving on.
Houston Cougars. Okay, so that takes us through the Sweet 16. Now we're going to go through our entire teams again into the Elite 8 as we drill down and fill out these brackets. So coming out of the West, we have Gonzaga versus Creighton. We'll see what happens.
We both do. Heads Gonzaga, tails Creighton.
Yeah.
You ready?
3,
2, 1, flip. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Flip it again. I'm not.
Bam. I got it. I got heads.
Heads.
Gonzaga.
Zags, moving on, baby.
The coin favors the seeding here.
In the West, my East region is pretty crazy. The other
West,
Sweet 16. Yeah.
Who do you have in this next round in the West?
Kansas Jayhawks versus VCU, Virginia Commonwealth.
I have the Kansas Jayhawks versus the Iowa Hawkeyes.
All right. You ready for this?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, flip.
I got heads. I have Kansas winning.
Me too. Rock chalk. I'm happy about that.
All right. Moving down the bracket.
Fighting Bill Self. Moving down the bracket here into the East/college football region. I've got LSU versus Florida State, Louisiana State versus Florida State. What about you, Rutledge?
The Michigan Wolverines taking on the Florida State Seminoles.
All right, let's do this thing. Let's flip on 1, 2, 3, flip.
I get tails. What did you get? Tails never fails.
For our podcast listeners. What's our next game, Rutledge? What's your next game?
I feel like that's a pretty big upset there for Florida State to go make this deep of a run. While they are good, that's not traditionally them in basketball.
As we've talked about on the show, this is the year where teams that aren't traditionally good are good, and teams that are traditionally good aren't good.
Wow, it's madness. All right, our next game, I'm calling this the Beyonce game because we're going a little Texas-Bama here. I have Texas Longhorns versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. You have the same thing, don't you?
No, I'm Texas versus Maryland.
Oh,
Maryland,
I forgot you got Maryland.
Yeah. Count us in, Rutledge.
1, 2, 3, flip. I have heads. Texas ends the crazy run of Bama through college basketball this year.
I have heads too. Texas versus Florida State. That'd be a really fun matchup. Just
That'd
from yet again the football perspective.
It's gonna be wild. Okay, to the other side. I have Baylor versus Purdue.
And I'm UNC Villanova. UNC is my heads and Villanova is my tails.
This is where it gets wild.
Are you ready for this?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, flip.
I have heads. I have Baylor over Purdue.
I have heads as well, but that gives me UNC.
Bam. Okay.
What's your next game?
Arkansas versus Ohio State.
Ooh, yeah, all right. I'm Texas Tech versus Florida.
Okay.
Texas Tech versus Florida. So, count us in.
All right. 1, 2, 3, flip. My quarter. I got it. I have heads.
Hey, me too.
I get Arkansas State. I get Arkansas.
I get Texas Tech, but I get the Florida Gators to lose. So I'm happy about that.
That feels pretty good.
I got a weird Elite Eight matchup. UNC versus Texas Tech.
That is a weird one.
But my next game here is going down and rounding out the Midwest region. Got Georgia Tech versus the Fighting Cade Cunninghams of Oklahoma State. Heads is Tech, tails is State.
I have Illinois versus Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State. Heads is Illinois, tails is Oklahoma State. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, flip. Tails never fails. Cade Cunningham lives to fight another day.
Wow. I got tails as well, Oklahoma State.
All right. Final game of the Sweet 16. West Virginia on my sheet versus Clemson.
And I'm San Diego State versus Houston.
Big favorite, Houston. All right.
Big favorite, Houston.
Flipping it out.
We're going to go at 3, 2, 1, flip.
I have heads. I have West Virginia beating Clemson.
Nice. I go heads as well, but I'm San Diego State.
All right, Connor. So we can keep everyone on track as we're here giving our show our picks live. What is your Elite Eight across your bracket right now?
Yep. In the West region, I've got Gonzaga, which was actually in my main bracket. I did pick Gonzaga to win it all. Gonzaga versus Kansas Jayhawks in the West. In the East, so bottom left, I've got Florida State versus Texas for a chance at the Final Four. In the South, or the top right, I've got UNC versus Texas Tech. In the Midwest, got Oklahoma State versus San Diego State. And you know, it's this is a lot of fun. There's a few teams that you would think would be there, and there's a few teams that would be real Cinderella stories if they made it. Rutledge, what's your Elite Eight looking like?
Mine feels more like just like a historic college basketball one, with the exception of one team or a couple. I have Gonzaga versus Kansas in the West. I have Florida State taking on Texas, with Florida State upsetting the very popular Michigan from this season. I have Baylor, who is my personal pick for the championship, versus Arkansas, who did show some strength in the SEC, not as strong as LSU or Bama. Then I have Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. So could get a little dicey, could be a little interesting. I have a lot of Big 12 on my sheet going into the Final Four.
Yeah, I've got some Big 12 too, but that is a strong conference, no doubt about it.
And as we talked, we did a previous episode, and you can find our highlights on YouTube where we did talk about the Big 12. And we even talked about college basketball a couple weeks ago. So check that out before you dive into your bracket, do all your research, or coin flip it like we are. But either way, watch our YouTube channel. All right.
Yeah, and maybe coin flipping would be better because I thought Duke was going to make the tournament. Just saying.
I thought Oregon was not.
And here we are. So let's pick our Elite Eight games here. I've got Gonzaga versus Kansas here. And yeah.
I have the same.
So you ready? 3, 2, 1, flip.
Boom.
Gonzaga moves on. I got heads.
I also have heads. Gonzaga goes.
Man, even in coin flipping, Gonzaga's crushing it.
Undefeated in real world, undefeated in coin flipping.
No doubt.
All right.
So give us the Eastern rundown.
I have Florida State versus Texas.
Hey, me too.
Look at that.
Count us in for the flip, big dog.
1, 2, 3, flip. Okay. I have heads. I have Florida State continuing this wild season.
Oh my gosh. I'm going off screen here for a very important reason.
Bring it in the helmet. Chopping the helmet.
Bringing in the helmet. I mean, if I didn't have these gigantic headphones on, but go Noles, baby. That'd be fun if Florida State made the Final Four.
That would be fun. Does that helmet fit?
It does. Hold on. For our viewers, we're going to do something pretty crazy here. My helmet almost fell and broke my house, but check it out. Rutledge, you should give some commentary.
That's true. I shouldn't just stare quietly. For everyone on our podcast, Connor has a Florida State University football helmet, their older style helmet. He's now putting it on and wearing it. It's got a full face shield. He looks like a lineman. I thought Connor was going to wear his glasses with it and look like Hot Rod Blankenship, but not so much. How do you feel, Connor?
Rutledge, I can actually hear you. So should I just finish off the episode in my helmet?
Probably not, but you look fantastic.
Woo! Do I look menacing?
You look like Florida, Tallahassee. That is Florida State.
I look like Tallahassee.
Beautiful. Connor sheds the helmet. Another day. We have it to everyone out there. Huge upset. Florida State making it all the way to the Final Four. Likens me to my excitement when the South Carolina Gamecocks a couple years back made it all the way to the Final Four. And I'll admit I didn't even pick them. I think I had them out in the round of 32. But they got in there.
Can't have that.
All right. Going over to the South, I have Baylor versus Arkansas. But this side of the sheet is where we started to differ.
Yep, I've got UNC Texas Tech. That's my deal.
Okay. Flip it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, flip. I have Baylor lives on. The Baylor Bears fight on.
Texas Tech back again. They end UNC's Iowa tournament run. Make another Final Four. This would be pretty good for the Red Raiders.
That'd be pretty big.
All right.
Yeah. Last game to determine our Final Four. We both have Oklahoma State, but I have them playing West Virginia.
And I have them playing, the Baja Fish Tacos of San Diego State.
It's a very good mascot.
So let's do this. We're gonna flip here on 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, we're on the ground.
Boom.
Still counting it.
Coins on the ground. I have tails with. I would not have picked this in real life, but I have West Virginia taking down the very popular, very media-hyped Oklahoma State.
And I've got the Pokes moving on. Oklahoma State in my Final Four.
Okay. Give us your Final Four, Connor.
Final Four coming out of the West region. We've got Gonzaga. Coming out of the East region or lower left, got Florida State. Coming out of the South region, for the top right, I have Texas Tech. And coming out of the Midwest, I have Oklahoma State. Not the wildest thing you could ever imagine. That's for sure.
I have in mind my West team is Gonzaga. My East team is Florida State. My South team is Baylor. And my Midwest team is West Virginia. I feel like my bracket's a little bit more madness to the coin flip. Florida State getting there, while doable, I think they're good enough to make a run, especially that even though the ACC was down this year, I think out of the hardest road, West Virginia has a really tough road, having to get through San Diego State, the winner of Clemson-Houston, which I have Clemson, and then also taking down Oklahoma State, who luckily they're familiar with. So we'll see if that pans out for my Final Four.
Well, let's flip it, shall we?
All right. These are for the semis. We both have Gonzaga versus Florida State. Does Florida State play for a national championship this year in basketball? 3,
Wow.
2, 1. Do dreams come true for Connor? Oh, break your heart there, buddy. I have heads. I have Gonzaga.
You ready to see what I got, Rutledge?
That or you should pull that finger away from the camera because this is a kid show.
Nice. Tails, baby. Florida State. The dream lives on for the Noles, according to my coin flip bracket.
That's going to be wild for you if you're watching the national championship with Florida State in it.
I'd wear my helmet.
I feel like you should.
I'd wear my helmet. Yeah. Well, let's flip for our right-hand side. How about it?
All right, this is where we're split. I have Baylor versus West Virginia.
And I'm Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Let's flip on 3, 2, 1, flip.
I have Baylor. I have the Baylor Bears.
And I got tails, so I'm Oklahoma State.
Okay. Daniel called you out on Twitch saying that that you would rig your coin flipping to where Florida State would make it work out. Daniel, thanks for coming out and watching the show tonight.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not have a loaded coin?
Right.
Although the only thing about it is that I would have to have some heads and tails. It's not like Florida State hit all tails all the way through. So I'm just saying.
Pretty big stuff. Our high production value show has rigged coin flipping. Soon will be a scandal on Sports Illustrated.
Maybe.
All right. This is where if we flipped it this far, we need to flip it out to the end. We have championship games. So I have Gonzaga versus Baylor.
And I'm Florida State, Oklahoma State.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm going to flip mine, and then I'll unveil my champion, and then you go on your other one. So I'll do mine by myself. 3, 2, 1. Bam. Tails on this. Tails, right side of the page. I have Baylor. Baylor wins it all.
Stick 'em Bears, man.
That's pretty big.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about the Baylor pick. I've talked about before in our previous shows, Baylor has a pretty consistent team. They were showing some skid into the season, but I know they didn't win the Big 12, but they're a 1 seed. They had a good season. They were 22-2. Pretty up on Baylor, and that's who I picked in my actual bracket. So I feel really good that Baylor made it all the way.
Nice. All right. Well, I've got Florida State for heads. If I flip heads, my bracket will be for the Florida State Seminoles. If I flip tails, that will be for Oklahoma State. Will Cade Cunningham finish off this big time great season? So, and 3, 2, 1, flip.
Oh.
And Fighting Cade Cunninghams are going to be cutting down the nets in Naptown. Oklahoma State going to win the title according to the Connor Bourne coin flip bracket.
Boom. Huge. Absolutely huge.
How do you feel about your bracket? Let's give it a little once over for me.
The ones that make me nervous are the Creighton upset coming out, getting them into the Sweet 16. Seeing I feel like the Ohio State Florida game is going to be huge, and then watching seeing Cade Cunningham go as far as he is, but not coming up short and losing to conference opponent West Virginia. But I'm most excited for the East Division, watching these teams battle out. Georgetown, the Florida State March, Michigan, Texas, Alabama all show promise this year. So we'll see if Florida State emerges. How about you? What's your take on your bracket?
As we said, right, the East bracket should be like, the Paul Bear Bryant, BCS, the Lee Corso bracket.
Oh.
That should be what it's called, right? Because all the, all the games are being played in the state of Illinois anyway, so why did they leave it east? I don't get that. But that'll be kind of fun to just, see important college basketball games. If my bracket, even if Michigan makes a deep run, and let's say Michigan plays Florida State, right? You got two traditional football schools playing really important basketball games. That'll be fun. I think my West bracket outside Iowa getting upset early is a little interesting. But, Gonzaga versus Kansas, a 3 versus a 1. I'm not too upset about that. The South is all kinds of craziness. Baylor out early, Purdue out early, Texas Tech making that deep run. That'll be interesting. And, the Midwest, I think that would be a ton of fun. I think, Rutledge, you and I are on the same page that it would be a ton of fun if Oklahoma State, made just a really far run. So if this thing comes out to be what it would be, I would like it, not necessarily from the upset perspective, but just a lot of fun games and a lot of fun teams playing each other, just kind of that perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. The one that when you say all the upsets that came to my mind was Georgia Tech going out as early as they are. I think Georgia Tech is a lot better than the coin allows them, but I'm with you. Cade Cunningham, we said we're going to be talking about him on future shows and all of our NBA segments, which we will resume during our next show together. Huge thing for him, especially on your side. We'll see what West Virginia does. I don't feel good about that matchup, but I do feel good about Baylor. So it'll be interesting to see how your South bracket comes out.
No doubt. Well, Rutledge, I know it's a little bit of a quicker show tonight here. Anything else that you want to talk about?
I want to take time to recap our Fantasy NASCAR League for all of you that even if you want to join in, we're a little on the back end, you can still go. We're only a couple races deep. We're doing a Fantasy NASCAR League called the Quest for the Golden Jorts. We are having people play Fantasy NASCAR with it. It is super easy, super fun, super competitive. If you win, you get a spot on our show, plus a pair of customized golden jean shorts that Connor and I will cut ourselves. Probably not the same length on the legs. But either way, we'll buy them in your size, the finest low-cost jeans. Shout out to our friend Steven, who was on the show last week. He won last week's show, picked everyone huge. Our league leader is a team of a good friend of mine named Jason, who's leading with the team called the Tampa Bay Vipers fan. So he's taking a shot out there to Johnny Manziel and everything in this world. But it's heating up. Connor, did you score more than 27 points last week?
I did not pick all backup drivers this week. So don't worry. My strategy is going to pay off. I know I'm in last right now, but it's a long season, Rutledge. And I actually did pick. I picked Truex. He was in my starting 5. So, that's pretty good, right?
That's pretty good. So we're getting there.
When you're picking the winner, that's not bad.
When you're picking the winner, that's not bad. I do want to also give a sigh of relief to see that the Chicago Bears signed Andy Dalton, that Russell Wilson is not going to be traded out of Seattle to go to Chicago, and the Saints have locked their quarterbacks up. So, Connor, right now it's in between you and me of where Russell Wilson's going to play. Is he going to stay with my Seattle Seahawks, or is he going to go over to your Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I know GM Mike Mayock came out very recently and gave a large, big props to Derek Carr, and I'm a Derek Carr fan for sure. But Rutledge, if there's one thing that we know about the kiss of death. We know about hyping and heaping praise upon folks. And I'm not convinced that Mayock didn't share that thought about Derek Carr publicly in order to trade him away privately. The Raiders did have Donald Penn retire. Well, he came back to retire as a Raider. They just traded Trent Brown to the Patriots. Patriots signed like everybody today. They turned the salary cap off in live Madden, real life Madden. And, I think it'll be interesting to see because obviously, Russ could have come out and denied things and he hasn't done that yet, but does he want to fix it? Is he trying to share thoughts in order to be a part of the solution? So we'll see for sure. And I think that as this plays out, where Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson are playing next year will be very interesting. And if anybody knows Justin Herbert, Have him call us. We have a spot for him on our show.
Yes, Justin Herbert, you're our secret best friend. You don't know you're our best friend, but we would love to have conversations with you. Maybe you can coin flip a bracket if you're probably listening to this later as you're doing heavy calisthenics, maybe some stretching.
Oh yeah, he's got to keep that. He's got to keep that cannon loose.
Keep it loose. All right, well, we're going to close for our show. To review for everyone, Connor and I went through our March Madness brackets. We coin flipped our way through. My Final Four is Gonzaga, Florida State, Baylor, and West Virginia, with Baylor winning it all. Connor, what is your Final Four?
My Final Four: Gonzaga, Florida State, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Championship game, Florida State, or not Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Championship game is Florida State, Oklahoma State, with Oklahoma State cutting down the nets.
Beautiful. The only thing we have left to do is do our weekly pick of picking our pole winner. Who is your thought for the pole winner for Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend for our next NASCAR race?
You know, Christopher Bell has been racing pretty hot, but I'm gonna go Joey Logano. I think he's gonna take down the pole in Atlanta. What do you think?
I am gonna take hometown hero Chase Elliott. I believe Chase Elliott has not gone out there. He's been consistent, but I think this is the time where he really starts to remind people of, hi, I'm the champion, Chase Elliott. So I am taking Chase Elliott.
Well, there we go. I think we've done our show, Rutledge. How do you feel about it?
Fantastic. So thank you for coming out. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, find our podcast. As Connor says, just type Friends Stream Sports into the internet and you'll find everything we have. But for Friends Stream Sports, I'm Rutledge.
And I'm Connor.
And have a great night.
And see ya.